Welcome back to Sunrise. It's been way too long. It's been, I think, about 2 weeks, but we had a little dead point in sports. End of the regular season, WNBA playoffs heating up, NBA preseason. So we have a lot to talk about. Keep this time short. This is not anything to take a great deal amount of your time, but I did want to talk about things that interested me. I want to talk about Game 3 at 8 p.m. Thursday night. Winner take all. Yankees, Red Sox. There's not a bigger stage you can really get to. People were talking about how the World Series Game 2 might matter more, but it's a great argument. There's nothing that matters more than an elimination game. You can't get to these games without winning an elimination game. Everything's on the table. There's nothing like an elimination game. There's nothing like Game 7 in the NBA. And I think an elimination game in baseball is even more because all your pitchers that you normally never use are definitely in play. I thought if the Red Sox were up and they had no Garrett Whitlock, they were probably going to go to Garrett Crochet at some point for an inning. You have to win the game. And Garrett Crochet and Aroldis Chapman for 2 innings give you the best chance to win. So that's probably what you're going to do. You can rest guys in Game 1. You can punt Game 1. But you cannot give up this game. So Yankees Red Sox, Game 3. It's Connolly Early versus Cam Schlittler. Cam Schlittler is, if you've missed it, he's made 15 starts for the Yankees. If you listen to ESPN Radio, I apologize, and I love them. I love Mad Dog. I love everyone at ESPN Radio. They're so focused in football season. They were not watching Cam Schlittler during the season. Cam Schlittler got called up to the big leagues because we lacked starting pitching. I forgot who got hurt at the time. It might have been Clark Schmidt going down with Tommy John, and Marcus Stroman was just not it. His high upside was 5 innings, 1 run. Just wasn't enough for our bullpen right now. It would take a Marcus Stroman start probably takes 4 to 5 pitchers. He's throwing 90s, and if he's not hitting the corners, he's going to get hit hard and knocked around. He's a good 5th starter, or maybe Longman out the bullpen, but when we need him to possibly give us 6, it wasn't it. So we called up Cam Schlittler to see what we had. And in his first start, he impressed. And I knew from his first start, I think it was 5.1, 1 earned run. It was truly an impressive start, and it wasn't 5.1, 3 earned runs, maybe. But it looked a lot more impressive. He had easy velocity, as they would say. And you saw it today. He went 8 shutout, 12 strikeouts, 0 walks. You've heard it everywhere. First pitcher to do that in postseason history. But it was really about his pitch mix that I want to go to. It was 90% fastball, sinker, cutter. For those who don't know, those are just different kinds of fastballs. Though his cutter is more like a slider, but when you're throwing that cutter at 95 miles an hour, we can count it as a fastball. In this case, he was buzzsawing off lefties. I think he broke 4 bats. Anyways, he just gave everyone. He was just electric. It was unstoppable. That was probably the worst thing as a Blue Jays fan. If you are a Blue Jays fan watching this, hello, subscribe to the pod. I would hate to have watched dominant starting pitching because this gives the Yankees a firm advantage in starting pitching. As the way the rotation lines up right now, it's going to be Luis Gil starting today at 4 p.m. And then they go Fried, Rodon, Schlittler, Fried, if there's a possible Game 5, which I believe, without a shadow of a doubt, you have the matchup advantage in Game 1. Kevin Gausman's been electric. He's been unhittable, that splitter. He's just been great. Even though the Yankees have hit him around in the past, this year he's done great against the Yankees. I think he went 8 innings, 1 earned, or 8 shutout against the Yankees. He's their ace. But other than that, I would take every other matchup for the Yankees after what Cam Schlittler did. Because even if Kevin Gausman, with the way the off days are lined up, Kevin Gausman would pitch Game 1 and possibly Game 4. So Game 4 would be Cam Schlittler's first start, and I'll take the electricity of Cam Schlittler versus Kevin Gausman any day as a Yankees fan. I would be worried with his depth of starting pitching. The bullpen is a question mark, but it's also the question mark for the Blue Jays. Can the Yankees be the best offense in baseball as they've been? I wrote it down somewhere. The Yankees, since the butter knife is since September 11th, so technically since Trump has been in office, they are first in on-base, OPS, BABIP, WOBA, WRC plus, walks, and RBIs. A lot of those are nerd stats, but they're very good. They're a very good offense. It's been electric since they've been trying to catch the Blue Jays all season or all second half. They've been electric. They've been unstoppable on offense, at least, unless your name is Trevor Rogers or Garrett Crochet. But the Blue Jays don't have that dominating left-hander in their starting rotation, so that's something to be worried about. Something to be worried about for the Yankees. It's always the bullpen. I think the offense should come around. I think it was a 3-game series. It's really tight. Like, every pitch matters, and it's so much more intense. I think game 1 will be a crazy amount of not let down, because it's game 1 of the playoffs, and it's in Toronto with a division winner with their first game of the playoffs, but not everyone's available. Like, I don't think you go to David Bednar as long as you don't have to close. You wouldn't even think about throwing a starter out there. Will Warren's probably available, and you probably want to get Will Warren some run because he hasn't pitched in a while. But yeah, if I have to lean aside, a little biased, but give me the Yankees probably in 4. You can quote me on this, you can clip me on this if it doesn't work out, but that starting pitching with Cam Schlittler now, like, hypothetically, I think this game is the Blue Jays' house money game. The Blue Jays have to win this game if they want to. The Yankees' house money game. If the Blue Jays don't, with Kevin Gausman versus Luis Gil, I don't see a way you win 3 out of 4 of Fried, Rodon, Schlittler, Fried. So, yeah, give me the Yankees in 4. So now move on to the WNBA Finals, and I was watching Game 1 while I was doing my essay. I listened to it Shannon Sharp style on mute, but I have a whole bunch of notes from the game because I just enjoy basketball, and it was some of the best basketball that you can watch. I think if you go back, if you want to rewind, just watch that entire second quarter. That was great hoops the entire time. One thing I'll know, Asia Wilson versus Alyssa Thomas. This is uncomfy territory for Asia Wilson. She's not used to guarding, just gonna guard someone out on the perimeter over and over, possession after possession. How the Aces were dealing with pick and roll with Alyssa Thomas at the top was interesting. They had to get used to it. It's game 1. You're feeling somebody out, so it was. I don't think they covered it well. Alyssa Thomas is a dog, but one thing I'm looking for is who tires out first, because they are going to wear each other down on offense and on defense nonstop. And I thought Alyssa Thomas was getting a little gassed, and you might have seen it at the end of the game, or it could have been her hand. Who knows? The Mercury, they're too big. They're a huge lineup. Satu Sabali, they just have so much size. Even their wings, their shooters. I think they have a 6-foot shooter. Satu reminds me of a 2K19 stretch 4. She's just shooting right over somebody. I wrote Satu is the future of basketball because she's so skilled. She looks like she did not play basketball in the U.S. Like that used to be an insult. She's great. She's a great player. Dane Evans, Jewel Lloyd. I've never seen a backcourt tandem be that fluid and that much of bucket getters. They were the difference maker in that game. You didn't know where the scoring was going to come from, and role players do play better on the road. At home. Role players do play better at home. You saw that with Dane Evans. You saw that with Jewel Lloyd shooting the piss out the ball, and they're going with what works. I think Jewel Lloyd needs to be in your final lineup at home. We'll see. The game keeps going. They took out their starters. If you start watching that game in the second quarter, you think when they start the third quarter, it's like, where are they? I haven't seen those starters. Apologize. Their 2-3 zone, I did like that. It gave Asia Wilson a nice rest because they're matching AT and Asia Wilson's minutes. I think it's very smart to have some zone minutes. They worked that zone late game, and it kind of got Asia Wilson a break sitting in the paint, defending the paint without having to move her feet, talk on screens. Communication needs to be a little better. They started switching a little bit more. I think that's something you should do a little bit, having Asia fight over those screens for the new 7-game format. I don't think that's going to be sustainable. And I think we saw it with that zone. It helped Asia Wilson get a little bit going in the fourth quarter. But that was a great game, I think. Tells me thing. I think the Mercury they can exploit their size, and you did see them exploit their size in the first 3 quarters. Don't go away from it. I think it's Kalia Copper. I don't want to say her name wrong. Shoot that thing, cuzzo. Oh my God. And she's got her interview at halftime. Amazing. I'm a fan. Got a fan. She just let it fly. Just keep letting it fly. I'm here for it. Yeah. I don't think that was a great challenge at the end. I think that was one of those, like, there's 26 seconds left and Becky Hammon threw the challenge like, oh, we have it, might as well. I want my timeout, I might as well. But I just thought, like, if that Alyssa Thomas call went the other way, like when she barely tapped the ball, because I kind of honestly thought maybe an ace player touched it, and with these refs, you never know. I just thought there was no need to challenge, but it was a great game. It was the heart of a champion, and I think the Aces, if I had to give my prediction, I'd say the Aces in 7. I think the Mercury will be playing better and shoot a lot better. I don't know if Kalia Copper could shoot a lot better, but I think she'll have more second half points. They're running her off the line. She was making tough shots too. I think there'll just be a couple games where the Mercury are too big for the Aces, so we'll see. I think if I had to make a pick, I'd say Aces in 7. I think they go 3 out of 4, build a real dynasty here, because they are a WNBA dynasty. So now we move to Thursday Night Football, and the only thing that made me calm during this Yankees game was this Thursday Night Football game. I had Christian McCaffrey in a fantasy league, so it definitely just calmed me down watching Mac Jones walk up and down the field on the Rams. And you looked up and it was 17-7, and I just said, texted my friend Gibson, and I said, divisional game, Thursday night. There was no chance this was going to be a blowout. Like, these two teams know each other too well. Like, 2 times a year, you play this team 2 times a year. Like, think about Vandy and Alabama. If Vandy plays Alabama year after year after year, eventually when they have a good enough squad, they don't have to have a better squad. They should have to have a good enough squad and a game plan. So I'm cool with it. They see how the Red Sox play the Yankees better than anyone else. The Blue Jays beat the Yankees over and over again. The divisional rivalry in sports is rough, and we've gotten away from it in basketball, but in football and baseball, you can see divisional rivals play each other so tough. It's a different game they're playing. You look at the Tigers and Guardians, you know it's going to be tied 1-1 entering the 8th inning. But we see Mac Jones throw for 350 yards, and he leads the NFL in yards per game, passing yards per game. And there's no... You saw the graphic to the side, if anyone can pull it up. It's no Brock Purdy, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk, Juwan Jennings. Like, that's your entire... Like, if it's a Sunday night football game, those would be the entire guys they'd be saying on, like, the cast. Like, Brock Purdy, Iowa State. Like, Juwan Jennings, quarterback for Tennessee. I remember those days. But, it was insane. And he's throwing to Kendrick Bourne, like Brady DeMoss back in the Patriot days. Like, I was so proud for Mac Jones, and I'm a huge First Things First fan, so I was so proud for Kevin Wildes because he didn't get the Yankees. I got the Yankees, and he can have Mac Jones. This brings up the question of What is Brock Purdy? Why would we pay Brock Purdy? That was my first thought. Why are we spending $50 million on a quarterback if Mac Jones can do this in the Shanahan system? And I don't know. I think the 49ers have done a couple things really poorly. They've done a lot of things well. They have great defensive coordinators from time to time. Robert Saleh is an absolute gem. He just went to the Jets. Everything goes bad at the Jets. Look at Sam Darnold. Look at Geno Smith. But look at Aaron Rodgers even. But they don't do quarterback well. You see, when they traded up for Trey Lance, traded a pick that could have been Michael Parsons, but they traded for Trey Lance, Jimmy Garoppolo. They didn't draft a good quarterback. So they see Brock Purdy and they're like, oh my goodness, we finally found that quarterback who's doing it. And it might have just been a lot of help from the system. Just because you're a system quarterback doesn't make you not a good quarterback. You could call Jalen Hurts a system quarterback. I wouldn't, but that doesn't make him not a top 10 quarterback. You see Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold hit a system, play very, very well. Kirk Cousins even, maybe. Call me a madman. But paying that quarterback $50 million when you see Mac Jones do this for, I think he's making 2 years, $7 million. They said that on the broadcast. I don't know what you're going to do with that contract, especially because Brock Purdy is shown to be injury prone and Mac Jones is injury prone. Don't know what this 49ers medical staff is doing. I don't even know if I can blame them. It's just every year I feel like somebody's already lost their job and they've put in new people and it's just getting worse. So I don't know if it's their practice turf or something, but please don't get Christian McCaffrey. He's sitting on my fantasy team. I need him right now. But let's see. Brock Purdy's going to probably start next week because Mac Jones is hobbling around. They get extra rest against, I think, Tampa Bay at Tampa Bay. Hopefully that game's not too hot. Battle of attrition. And we'll see probably Ricky Pearsall back, probably Juwan Jennings back, probably Brock Purdy, a different team. But really good win by the 49ers and really bad choke by the Rams. You saw Sean McVay. Sean McVay took it on the head, said, shouldn't have. I made a bad call. I agree. It's really all I can say. I think when Blake Corum fumbled and Kyron Williams fumbled, I didn't really disagree with those calls because that's ball you were trying to run the clock out. I was very confused on how they fumbled, but Kyron Williams got punched in the face and they punched the ball out. It was really an outstanding play. But you can't lose that game because the next time you play the 49ers, you might see Kittle, Ayuk, Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall. They might hang 40 on you if Mac Jones is playing. Anyways, we move on to the NBA season. The Knicks played the Sixers. It's really only tidbits. I really have one fact. Mitchell Robinson had 16 rebounds in the first half, and Pacom Dadier started. I don't know if that's for a trade to make him valuable to trade with OG Anunoby not playing, or just to make him valuable to the team. I'm really interested to see who starts because Josh Hart got hurt, and if Dadier is in the mix. I think he's ready. I don't know if they think he's ready. I think there's only one way to find out. I think he has a valuable role on this team. I think Mike Brown does good with bench wings and their motion style offense. I think he can be a threat. I think he can be a grinder, and I think his jump shot is NBA ready. The last thing I want to do is circle back to the Yankees and manager Aaron Boone. He's been polarizing since he's been there. It's been a lot of fire Boone. Alex Cora's a genius and whatever. I'm an Aaron Boone stan. I'm gonna put it on there. I'm gonna say it here right now. I don't think Aaron Boone made any decision that was worth being fired in the Red Sox series. The only decision I don't stand with is defending Jazz Chisholm for Ahmed Rosario. I think if you were starting Garrett Crochet and starting Ahmed Rosario in that scenario was a good idea. People on the internet, extreme internet, it's become viral that Jazz Chisholm turned his back on the media. It says Jazz Chisholm's a 30-30 guy, he needs to play, and I can agree with that. He does need to play. But Max Fried allows the most amount of ground balls to third base, and you needed a good defender at third base. Ahmed Rosario was not a good enough defender to play third base with Max Fried on there. And it was not time to find out. He has not played third base with Max Fried on the mound, and we've seen what a bad defender or an average defender behind Max Fried looks like. Pablo Reyes, Jazz Chisholm. But if you put a Ryan McMahon or, into a lesser extent, Jose Caballero, who is a stellar defender, but he's just no Ryan McMahon. It's no hate. We see what Max Fried is with all the ground balls he allows to third base. So Ahmed Rosario started at second over Jazz Chisholm, and Jazz Chisholm didn't come in to agree with that. Ahmed Rosario played 7 innings, and after his last out, I think in the 7th, they brought in Jazz Chisholm for defense, and then he ended up having to face Aroldis Chapman with the bases loaded in his first at-bat. I just don't agree with the decision to bring in Jazz Chisholm. If you knew it's a lefty starter and a lefty closer, somewhere in the middle, you might need Jazz Chisholm, and if that time came up, then you would pinch hit him. But taking out and burning Ahmed Rosario in that case could have cost the Yankees the series. Every other decision, I stand by Boone. Taking out Max Fried after 102 pitches, yes, that was probably the right decision. If you were going to go to the bullpen at all, that was the time. It was a perfect time to. Taking out Rodon, that was an easier decision. He lost control. And leaving in Cam Schlittler, you heard what he said. He's throwing strikes. Get him back out there. Absolutely masterful. Then going straight to Bednar. Bednar's pitched 3 straight games in this series, and I think we can now think about when will this start to take its toll on David Bednar. If we think back to the end of the regular season for the Yankees, David Bednar pitched the last day of the season. I think he pitched back-to-back days on the last day of the season, got an off day and pitched 3 straight. So that's looking at 5 out of 6. And David Bednar did not need to pitch the last day of the season because in the 9th inning when the Yankees needed to close out the game, Toronto was up 10 runs on Tampa, and they needed Toronto to lose to win the division at all. So the game in its necessarily didn't matter. I think in that moment, I would have pitched Camilo Doval. Obviously, we don't want to go lose a game, but we're up 4 runs. If the worst were to happen, you can have David Bednar get hot. You can have him hot and on standby, but it might catch up. Hopefully, we don't need him tomorrow, or we don't need him one of these days in the first 2, so we can get a double off day, because he really needs the rest. We're only in the DS. But Aaron Boone was the best manager in the series. I don't even think it's close. Alex Cora's 2 decisions during Game 1 to manage Game 1 like he was down 1-0, take out Brian Bale after 38 or 28 pitches, was in my thought ridiculous. After you win Game 1, you manage Game 2 like it's a regular season game. Brian Bale, hopefully he fights through 6 tough innings. If he goes through 6 innings and gives you 4 runs, hopefully your offense picks you up, because you have the best player in the series and the best 2 pitchers in the series. Garrett Crochet was the best player in the series by far, and Aroldis Chapman was the 2nd best pitcher in the series. So in Game 3, if break glass in case of emergency, and in Game 3 the glass is already broken, you probably have Aroldis Chapman and Garrett Crochet for possibly 3 innings. So if you had a rested bullpen before that, you could have gotten some work. You burned Garrett Whitlock because you didn't have anyone up. I think by far Aaron Boone managed a better game, but we don't talk about that because he's the manager of the New York Yankees and he doesn't make the right decision and fire Boone and Anthony Volpe, which was the Anthony Volpe situation. Completely wrong. But he's an October performer. If you're on Substack, subscribe to the Substack. If you're on YouTube, please press the button. I think this is one of my most liked ideas. I hope you enjoyed it because I really do enjoy talking at the sunrise about what's happened in the past week or 2. This will definitely be more regular because this was more liked, at least once a week, I'm hoping. So, I'll see you soon.